Trujillo, and today I'll be presenting Humanistic and Transpersonal Psychology. Humanistic Psychology. The history of Humanistic Psychology. Humanistic psychology emerged in the mid-1950s into modern day as an approach to understanding the human as a whole. The idea was to advocate and to broaden the concept that there should be a more holistic view of the human experience that would emphasize the growth for the person along with self-actualization and the inherent goodness of the individual, rather than typically focusing on unconscious behaviors and preconditioned behaviors of humans. It was a movement in psychology that focused on the person's experiences and their uniqueness. It originally began as a critique of psychoanalysis and the behaviorism, which would begin to focus on the initial potential of humans. Within the 1960s and the 1970s, it became a strong force. However, in the late 1970s, it would lose its influence. Many people were either bringing a new idea to humanistic psychology, or it would be implemented in a different way. And it would be semi-used in some and many practices. In the 2000s, it would become a more utilized force that would become more essential in many practices. This movement would have its ups and downs throughout history. However, it would be an essential movement within history in the psychoanalysis and therapeutic world. The founders of humanistic psychology: Abraham Maslow and Carl Rogers. Abraham Maslow is a famous and well-known psychologist who created the hierarchy of the need theory. Within this theory, there are 5 pillars, which are listed from top to bottom: self-actualization, esteem, love and belonging, safety, and physiological. Maslow would argue that we can't reach self-actualization until we meet esteem needs and love and belonging needs, safety needs, and physiological needs. His main interest was in self-actualization because it was not common in most people, or most people have not reached it. However, he was interested in studying the group of people who were considered themselves to be self-actualized and learned from it and implemented it into his research and into his theory. He was interested in all aspects of the human existence and the uniqueness to each individual. He also believed that people were more motivated to meet certain needs compared to others. Some people wanted to meet basic needs, while other individuals took priority of some needs over others. He made many contributions to the movement of human psychology. Many significant contributions to the movement of human psychology. Maslow's need theory. Self-actualization, which in another term, it means you're living to reach your highest potential or to reach your highest goal. Esteem is when you gain self-esteem or confidence, achievement, respect of others, and respect by others. Love and belonging. It's more looking for a deeper meaning, such as friendship, family, and sexual intimacy. Safety. Safety is where one wants to feel safe and secure, whether it's in their body, their job, in morality, and their family, health, and their properties. Physiological needs are needs that we need to live, such as food, water, sleep, breathing, and other needs such as sex and homeostasis, excretion. This is the Maslow's need theory. Carl Rogers. Carl Rogers is another famous and well-known psychologist who would center his approach of the movement based on 3 conditions: unconditional positive regard, congruence, and empathy. Unconditional positive regard is when there's acceptance of one's behavior, one's actions, one's full being, without any judgment. Congruence is when it references to an individual's behaviors in the real world, which they are a reflection of the individual in their inner world. Empathy is understanding one's behavior in the real world and understanding it as if it is our own. Rogers' theory is to help one reach their goal and to see their full potential and gain a sense of self-actualization. His goal in his research was to explain that humans have and are born with the desire to grow, the desire to feel understood, and the desire to feel as if they have the power to run their own lives. He also made many significant contributions to the movement of human psychology. Rogers' theory. As a quote from Roger, quote, "Being in a relationship with others means an understanding of how to be relational that starts with yourself," along with a diagram that shows Carl Rogers' experiential learning theory. Humanistic psychology. As we know, humanistic psychology is a branch or a movement of psychology that focuses on the person as a whole. It also focuses on the person's experiences and how they might be influenced by their perception of themselves, along with the needs internally and that they are unique in their own way. It also gives the idea that human beings are unique and they should be treated as such by the person evaluating them or the person seeing them. It is also a way to approach human being behaviors and understanding the person as a whole. Abraham Maslow and Carl Rogers are both famous psychologists that worked to found the humanistic psychology. As we know, Abraham Maslow created the hierarchy of the need theory, and Carl Rogers also believed strongly in the importance of empathy. Humanistic psychology is a way to express one's feeling of being and their importance in life and their uniqueness. It is also considered to be a third force psychology, and the other two forces are psychoanalysis and behaviorism. Psychoanalysis is when the analysis of the unconscious, and behaviorism tends to look at the conscious behaviors as a reaction to the real world happening in real time. Transpersonal psychology. The history of transpersonal psychology. Well, it emerged during the late 1960s and it originally stemmed or came from the movement of humanistic psychology. It was also discussed amongst the psychologists that there is a dire need for a psychology that explains the human experience as a whole and that will include non-normal or non-ordinary states of one's consciousness. In early research, psychologists would explore the state of consciousness through substances such as LSD, and as you could tell by laws and regulations and FDA, it is an illegal substance as of right now. And it's kind of interesting to think about because LSD does give people like the feeling of being high and getting out of their, like experiencing their lives throughout without being in their body. It is also known as a controversial movement due to the regulations and practices that were conducted. There was an association that was made for its primary purpose to promote and research and to practice the fields and implement them, and they were known as the Association for Transpersonal Psychology. The Journal of Transpersonal Psychology, which was a book written for research and theories and a way to combine all and establish all of their ideas and theories into one book. Here, the primary focus was to conduct the research on the peak experience of the human being. Founders of transpersonal psychology. There was a group of psychologists and well-known psychiatrists working on the new psychology that would center around the human experience. These include well-known names such as Abraham Maslow and others that I cannot correctly pronounce. However, I did add them into this, and there were a significant amount of other people as well. Maslow is known and considered to be the founder of both humanistic and transpersonal psychology. He was an editor for the Journal of Humanistic Psychology. On the other hand, due to his success and his tireless efforts in researching and experimenting with these types of psychology, he is well known and profound in the psychology world. William James also had an influential role in transpersonal psychology because of the fact he wrote about it in his early book called The Varieties of the Religious Experiences. The association of religious experiences is often associated with mystical experiences. William James. William James is known as a proto-founder of transpersonal psychology because prior to Maslow beginning the movement, he wrote about it in his book. The book he wrote was called The Variables of Religious Experience, which he published in 1902. James touched on the mystical experience and how it was different than the average consciousness. He grouped them based off of 4 different characteristics, those being ineffable, noetic, transient, and passive. Ineffable means that it is very hard or very difficult to describe, and it's very complicated to talk about. Noetic means that it's revealing a truth. Transient means it is short-lasting or not long-lasting. Passive means that it is overpowering and will often not come out with one's free will. Non-everyday experiences or even the near-death experiences relate to James' characteristics of mystical experiences. Transpersonal psychology. Transpersonal psychology is a branch of psychology that focuses on the study of spiritual and transcendental aspects of the human experience. The goal is to find and understand the deep meaning of the human experiences and the relationship between oneself and the higher consciousness, along with leading it to one's self-development and one's growth. It incorporates religion, tradition, and relates them to modern theories. The human experiences that are evaluated at peak experience, psychedelic experience, spiritual experience, and religious experiences. The initial goal is to help people or help individuals reach their full potential and go above and beyond their ego regardless of the limitations, so one could grow and reach their goals in life. In the transpersonal psychology, common practices that therapists use on their patients in modern day are things that one can connect with one's true self, such as meditation, journaling, and therapy, musical therapy, to help one reach their goals. Here is my works cited. Thank you. Thank you for your time. I really appreciated everything you did, and I really enjoyed taking this class this semester. I hope that you have a great rest of your week.